Chris, we added you to the intro. Love it, brother. Guys, Rocket Lab Daily, episode 19. We've got a special guest coming on today. Space Ghost is on his way. But today's a bit of a random day. We're going to talk about the markets. We're going to talk about that major Iran announcement. I have an article on Korea. We have engine talk. We have space capsules, DARPA, Chinese news, and then SpaceX news. And also we have a new toy that Francisco found, and me and Chris have been playing around with it before the stream. But guys, what I want to say, my name is Liam. I'm one of the Hustle Brothers here, and I'm here with the founder of this project, the Haste Club leader, Christopher Bell. Chris, how are we getting on today, brother?
Man, as you can see, it's just me and the birds and the bees and the river and the trees. Just taking it easy, man. Taking it easy, trying to take all this crazy news with Iran and everything going on. You know, it's a little hectic. Everybody's really kind of tuned into that, understandably. But as always, there's always new Rocket Lab news. So we're going to try and hopefully focus more on the fun stuff and go down that direction. I'm excited about space coming on. We've been trying to get him on. The timing's been kind of bad for both of us in the last week or so. I know he's working a little late, but we do get him on this evening. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to basically let that guy just take over and just run with it because he's got a lot of information. If you guys don't follow him, he's at Space Ghost. If you do follow him, then you have a good idea of what we're probably going to get into later. Don't want to give all that fun away, but until he does get a chance to jump on here, anybody in the comments outside of the China, the Korea thing, you just piqued my interest because I was looking at something today about that as well. We talked about that about a week or two ago.
Yep.
When that news came out. Yeah. So yeah, normally, man, we just get on here and just go with the flow. I love that about this whole community. That's what today's gonna be about. But again, when Space Ghost comes on, put your seatbelts on, man. That guy's got a lot of info. A lot of info.
Chris, do you know what I found wild? It is like when I'm trying to do the description for Rocket Lab Daily, I never know what to put, because to be fair, we come on, we could say, right, we're going to talk about this, this, and this, and we could go off on some mad tangents. But you know what? That's the fun of it. But guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wreck Chris's head. You all know what I'm going to do first up. And let me just fire up my screen here. I probably should have had that before the stream ready. But Rocket Lab, down 0.5% today. And then after hours up, we're sitting flat enough. We're pushing down towards another 0.5%. If we compare that to the likes of the S&P, we drop 0.85%, which, look, guys, that is quite a big move on the S&P. We're quite flat after hours, but we're going to talk exactly what's happening here, why I could see the overall macro market pulling back. Potentially Rocket Lab could, I don't want to say benefit. I don't like the word benefit when it comes to war, because I don't think anyone wants to see any type of war happen. But the big news today is Iran has put out tonight, there'll be a big surprise, and the world will remember it for centuries. I don't know about you, Chris. This does scare me a little bit, just because I don't know, is it because I'm Irish? Our military is absolutely tiny. We wouldn't be able to take on the likes of Iran. But yes, the US can, but it's not just the US, it's not just Israel, it's the people that actually have to fight in it, and it's close to home for the likes of you.
Well, the good thing about this all, man, is that if you really step back and look at this, the top 9 other countries in the world as far as defense, they still don't come close to us. You can combine the top 9 together, and they still don't come close to what the U.S. has and what the capabilities are. So, it's it's easy to get watch the news and get the whole clickbait and get the fear. That's what they do. That's what they push. They fear. They push fear. That's how they make their money. And yeah, if you got people deployed, it does hit close to home. But you always got to be reminded. Yeah, I get it. You're in Ireland, it's different, but in the U.S. we have the best of the best. We really do. Thankfully, my son is in there. As you guys know, he's one of the best of the best. He trained really hard for what he does. Very proud of the kid. As a parent, you're always going to worry. You're always going to worry, but you have to trust in the history. I mean, look what we've done over the history. We've always been very strong. It is going to be scary. I get that, but you got to trust in the people that know more about it than I do. I'll say it 1,000 times. I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to a lot of the stuff. I don't. It's a country in the Middle East that has limited sources. They do have some scary things, of course, but again, taking a big step back, it's not as scary as it seems on the news. So, yeah, definitely don't want to push that agenda here. Definitely don't want to do that. Even though, again, I've got family involved, but you were talking about what we don't like to talk about, but you got into some numbers, and we were talking about Redwire yesterday, and
Yep.
I looked more into it today, and of course the dilution went through, or the announcement went through. Would it dropped like 18% or so
18%.
today? I bought. I did.
Oh, you're in Redwire now.
Yes, I definitely. I did. I bought pretty heavily. Not gonna lie.
Welcome to the club.
I'm looking at why they're probably doing this dilution again. Rocket Lab did something similar, and it was for their benefit. And I don't see. You look at the financials. You look at what Redwire has been able to accomplish already. I see this as a good move for the company, as far as raising the capital, using it for R&D, using it to grow the company. It does hurt in the short term, but I don't see this lasting very long. I really don't. Love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm sure people in the comments, after yesterday and today, as far as Redwire, I'm sure there's a lot of feedback on that. So love to hear from you guys as always. But yeah, Liam, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so the acquisition was the biggest thing that got me into it. For you guys that don't know, they acquired Edge Autonomy, which was valued at around 950 million. They're a UAV company, and I think their CEO Peter came out in one of his interviews, and he said, "Look, for an overall company, logistically, they want to be in space. Ideally, they want to be in space, the air, land, and sea. And the next best thing after space was aerospace. They operate a lot of their stuff in low Earth orbit, and then just below Leo, you'll have these high flying VTOL UAVs. Now, I did drop a video earlier, and it was us speaking yesterday, and I'm not even talking about Rocket Lab at this stage. I'm just saying, with the capabilities of space-based solar, they're 10 times the efficiency when it comes to collecting solar power. DARPA have been able to transmit via lasers energy at 5.3 miles at an efficiency of 20%. But that 20% still makes the efficiency of the solar power double what you collect here on Earth. Therefore, the likes of these VTOLs, if they convert them to my favorite eVTOLs, or even hybrids, it gives them an endless source of power. That way, they wouldn't have to come down to refuel. I'll have to get into their vehicle. I haven't jumped into Edge Autonomy's vehicle too much. But then when it comes to Redwire Space has been doing an awful lot. They're only a few months back. You're actually going to laugh at this, but they partner with Virgin Galactic for their locker boxes for scientific missions.
Yeah, but
At the time, they put.
I still bought it anyway. I saw that. I did my research, man. I did see that, and it was a bit of a red flag. But yeah, and as you guys know, up until today, the only thing I had in my portfolio, and it's the only thing that's been in my portfolio for 6 or 8 months now, has been Rocket Lab, and um, maybe it's just a hunch. Maybe I'm screwing up. You know, maybe I still haven't learned enough. I don't know, but from what I've seen, and again, I can't wait when we get Dave G on. I'm gonna pepper him with questions about Redwire. I know he knows a lot more about it than I do. And again, guys in the chats, you guys probably know a lot more about it than I do. I've done enough research where I don't feel ignorant for investing. Again, I'm very particular about what I invest in. I really think that the combination of the dilution and the Iran and the war, going down is what's really hurting it. And man, it's hard not anticipate a decent bounce backs, maybe 3 to 4% over the next couple of days. I could be wrong, but I like what I see from them. I do. I really do. I've been really impressed.
And you got to think, like, they're eating up a company that is more or less, 80% of their market cap. And I know I'm banging on about Edge Autonomy, but it's such a big part of them now. It's nearly 50% of their company, really. Trump signed an executive order not that long ago where they're going to upscale and free up a lot of capital to help develop the drone technology in the US. Redwire is a direct benefit of this now. I feel like they're getting their fingers in all the pies at the moment. Look, they're not profitable. They're a little bit further back when it comes to Rocket Lab. But I think that actual run up in the short term. Now, guys, before you say I think they're more profitable or they're a better investment than Rocket Lab, I'm not saying that at all. But in the short term, potentially, short to medium term, you may see a bit of a run up, depending on what happens. But look, I'm bullish on the company. I'm not that knowledgeable on the company. I've said before, I have a little investment in it. I'm not currently growing it. Even at this ideal price, I'll be dead honest today, and some people will jump on me for this. I had a little bit more Tesla today. I just keep adding Tesla at this stage. You're gonna say I'm an idiot.
No, I actually like that. I like that. You got to look for the opportunities. Definitely.
Yeah.
I thought that down 18% with Redwire today with what they're doing. I looked at that as an opportunity. It may be a swing trade for me. It may be short term.
Yep.
I haven't made that decision yet. I'm going to look more into it. One more thing too that of course Francisco brought up last night. I was in bed, so I missed it, but I got up this morning and I said this to Francisco, and he said, "Yeah, I posted that last night, idiot." Just catch up. But you guys check out a company called Leo Labs.
Oh, I'll actually get them up here.
That's a very fun. That's a fun rabbit hole to jump down. We're all out there trying to figure out what this next launch is going to be for Electron, and we're just guessing at what it could possibly be. I've looked at everything from I've looked at crazy stuff. I have, but sometimes when you get looking at crazy stuff, it takes you down rabbit holes. You get information, and you start finding more dots to put together. Now, a company like Leo Labs is working with the DoD, Space Force. It is a commercial company, like obviously all the companies really are. But it's interesting what their capabilities are, what they're striving to do. What they've already done is actually quite impressive to be honest. But they don't have the launch like most of the companies out there. So yeah, and right before we get in the chats, that's the last thing I wanted to say. Hopefully, Space will be able to get in here soon. Love to hear from you guys in the chats. I know we dropped a bunch of crazy ideas like we always do, but that's what we're here for, man. We're here to have fun. Where we try and have fun. But yeah, Liam, if you can jump, I can't. I can't see the chats on my phone. I'm always outside. But yeah, let's go from there.
So we have Rimdom 10 go. I think Rindom was talking about how many people were here at the start of the stream. We're currently sitting at 30 now. Kurt Nevin, good job. Kurt, you a big investor in Redwire, brother. Please let me know. And guys, do jump into the chats and let us know. Look, we're not saying Rocket Lab's a bad investment. We're not saying don't add Rocket Lab at the moment. But I want to know some of your thoughts on Redwire, guys. Or do you think, again, we're firing down a silly rabbit hole and we should just focus on Rocket Lab? Yeah, Leo Labs. To be fair, Francisco actually got me last night with Leo Lab. About 1:30 at night here. Like, look, guys, we're sitting about 10 past 11 at night here while I'm live. But yeah, it was about 1:30 in the morning. Francisco shared this Leo Lab. Never heard of it before. My God, brother, I must have stayed up for another 45 minutes just playing around with this website. It's my new favorite toy. But
I need
it's
to
a
set
nice
my alarm clock for like 5 o'clock in the morning. These guys go all night long. You've seen the chats. These guys go all night long. That's the crazy thing that I never really thought about it until we started doing the live streams, and I was like, how in the world are we going to find enough content to do this daily? Well, we can't keep up with the content. We just can't. It's impossible, and it's still early. Space is still very, very early. Whether it's a rocket lab or it's a planet lab or it's Leo Labs or whatever, SpaceX, we're still early in a lot of this stuff. You look at, I'm old, so I look back at the whole computer boom when the internet first came out, and everybody was like, no one's going to buy their Christmas gifts online. That's stupid. Well, now we have Cyber Mondays. I think we're early on a lot of these things. None of us want to be wrong, obviously, because our money's involved. But it helps when you have people that are literally up all night long, all around the world, like Ring Dome Perion. That guy's amazing. He's at I think Denmark, maybe. I think I got that right. So, bro, we cover like every time zone, almost literally all across the world. So yes, all night long we're gonna be getting information. I had to turn my phone off at night, but I should probably set it a little bit early in the morning so I don't miss out. Sorry, Francisco.
Guys, actually, let me know as well. There's a launch coming up in 3 days. It's a bit of a silly question, but do you want us to cover it? It's out in New Zealand, isn't it? This one?
Yeah, that's come out of New Zealand.
Oh, I think, brother, I think the tables might have turned. I think I might be getting up late, will I? For this one? New Zealand? Depends what time they launch at, to be fair. Guys, if you know what time they're planning on launching, do let me know. But if you do want us to cover it, look, we cover launches from start to finish. We don't just end the stream as soon as Rocket Lab cut the live for 40 minutes. We wait for payload deployment. So it's good fun. We have chats along the way. We have a bit of a show before, bit of a show after, share our thoughts. I do love our launches, Christopher, to be fair. Chat does get involved, and it's mad. But Chris,
it's crazy that people are up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the best thing about this community is that you can actually get on, and whether you're on X or you're live, somebody's awake, they're watching. So It sucks. I'm not gonna lie. That was painful. I'm old, man. If I sleep wrong, it hurts. you know, waking up, setting your alarm, and getting up. I hope it's on your. Yeah, somebody please let us know. I didn't pay that much attention to it, to be honest, as far as launch schedule. If they have a time announced, let me know what it is for Eastern time.
We're
It
11
doesn't matter.
hours.
I mean, I'm gonna be up, so uh, I'd prefer it to be like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That'd be great. Uh, but that's not gonna happen. It's probably gonna be like 3 or 4 in the morning my time. But yeah, if you guys know, please let us know in the chats.
Oh, Francisco actually said this one might be a short one. Confidential customer, don't show the second stage. That's actually true. Now, the only thing is, we can speculate after, not gonna lie, who we believe. You had a thought on why you don't believe it would be any sort of NASA customer, didn't you, Chris?
I mean, usually if it's NASA, they're going to announce it and they're going to plan it out. It's NASA. NASA drags stuff out, and they're going to promote it. I don't know of any. Now, obviously, if they're working with the DoD or something like that, then yes, might not be announced earlier, deemed classified. But usually, if it's NASA, some sort of scientific exploration kind of thing, we know about it. It wouldn't be hidden. It's no big deal. A lot of these signs, everything I've been looking at it. I can only do so much research. That's why I rely on you guys a lot. But everything I'm looking at is really pointing more towards a DoD, maybe even Space Force type contract. The whole mission name has been throwing me off. I'm not gonna lie. I don't get it. I don't get it. I've tried. I even asked Grok. Grok don't know crap. Uh, but yeah, I don't think it's a NASA mission. Just my thoughts. I could be wrong. Man, I'm wrong a lot. That's the fun part about this. I'm wrong a lot. Often in the chats, they know more than we do. If you see anything, man, again, I can't see them, but let me know.
What I want to say, guys, is we've got a very special guest sitting in the lobby here. Guys, if you haven't followed Space Ghost, make sure to follow Space Ghost _42 on X. And I'm about to bring him in here. Space Ghost, brother. How are we getting on?
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
What's going on? You guys talking Rocket Lab?
We're talking
We are
Rocket
now.
Lab, all right. I'll sort of give you a bit of a rundown what we were talking about. Did you see that Iran has came out and said, what were they more or less saying? Tonight there'll be a big surprise. The world will remember it for centuries. We've talked about how the market's pulling back because of this. Is it going to escalate? We didn't like to say that anyone will benefit from this. Benefit's a hard word to say when it comes to war. Yeah. But we were looking at the impacts it will have on the likes of Rocket Lab. But you know what, brother? What we'll do, we'll let you steer the conversation a little bit. Have you anything mad for me?
Yeah, really, bro. I'm so happy you're on. I've been trying to do this for days. I do apologize for the delays, but I've been looking forward to this. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Honestly, I've been actually getting messages going, "Hey, I thought space was going to be on today. What's going on?"
Yeah, that's my bad. Work's been crazy, I also feel bad. I don't necessarily have anything like a super deep dive prepared for you guys, but always happy to talk, whatever. So but happy to be here. Thanks for your patience. I know I think 3 or 4 times now I said I was going to be on and then end up working till 9-10 p.m. and missed the whole thing. So
hey, bro, we're all blue collar guys here, so we totally get the working aspect of it. That's got to come first. But you created this, like, and you should know by now, I'm not Mr. Techie kind of guy, but you created this program that has been very beneficial to Rocket Lab investors. And pretend like you're just talking to me, like you're talking to a dog, and like kind of walk us through, how you came up with that and what it does, and just explain it more. Because again, if you guys aren't following this guy, man, the information he puts out, and you all know I hate the numbers, but if I need, there's a certain information, man, I just click on him. It's great. So yeah, just walk us through that if you don't mind.
Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, and you're great, man. I appreciate all your posts and stuff too. So I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, so I right now, like today it's RKLB, like rocketlab.wiki, and it's just a site that's published, it's free, open source, and it's basically like it's hard to find something that isn't there at this point, as far as like SEC filings and information about customers and launches and products, and there's it's always a work in progress. Funny enough, like it started back like about a year ago. I was on Reddit and I was watching, obviously the legend Dave G. I know you guys are having him on tomorrow, so that's awesome. Yeah, I was, watching a lot of his videos, and there was a Reddit thread where I just happened to share a spreadsheet that I had with like every Peter Beck interview that I one day I just like sat there for like 4 hours and I just found every single Peter Beck interview that like exists, and I made that spreadsheet. I posted it, and then lo and behold, like of all people, Dave G responded in the thread, and he's like, "Hey, this is pretty cool." And I was like, "Yeah, that is, it is pretty cool." So it just kind of motivated me. It's a lot of the motivation I have for doing it is other people. It's like part of it is I can never remember anything, so it's hard for me to remember like what Capella Space does off the top of my head, right? So it's just like, there it is. Hey, yeah, it's just like my second brain is like so
that's hilarious.
Dude, that is absolutely so wild.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But the info is amazing. It's a cheat sheet, and I'll admit, I use it all the time. We're going live every day, so sometimes we need content, and sometimes we do need the numbers, we need the facts and receipts, and it's awesome that guys like you actually take the time, and you're not getting paid for it. Like you said, you're doing it for free, but we all appreciate it, man. We definitely all appreciate it. It's awesome. I love it. It's crazy how many different tools we have in this community, different people that contribute so much to it, and you do a lot of it, man. I don't think you get enough respect. Again, so happy to have you on. I know we're not done, but even before we're done, I'm going to go, hey, let's do this again.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Francisco showed me Leo Labs yesterday, and that was my new favorite toy. No, this is my new favorite toy. I'm going pumping this for you, brother, because my God, this looks good. But what I want to do, I want to jump straight back to South Korea invests in missiles capable of intercepting threats beyond the stratosphere by 2028. Now, why I bring this up is, look, they're looking to develop a new highly maneuverable interceptor missile as part of the Advanced Air Defense System. Now, we already work with a few companies in Korea. Could you see a use for Haste in the likes of testing for hypersonics? I'll let you go first, Chris.
You already knew my answer. We already knew my answer for that. I mean, we talked about South Pacific months ago, and South Korea just makes all the sense in the world. Yes, there's going to be advantages for them working with Rocket Lab, learning from Rocket Lab, and it's not going to be the last one. I saw a post today that showed all the different countries, and it kind of blew me away. You think six months ago, people were not really looking at Haste, and now you're looking at the fact that because of Haste, we're working with not just one or two, but 6 or 7 different countries. So yes, I do see an application use for there. But again, we've got space on. The GEOST is here, man. Let's hear from him.
Yeah, I don't, I did kind of a little bit on like state level customers maybe about a month ago during like the Space Weekly talk that like Jacob does there.
Yep.
And there are certain countries that it's kind of like a tier list of, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, all have pre-existing agreements with the United States that make that kind of thing much easier. So you have like ITAR rules that you have to follow, but I'm not sure about Korea. I would assume it's closer towards a yes than a no. Just given like geopolitical. But I know it's not, for example, one of like the Five Eyes countries where I would assume it's just like a go. And we're almost waiting for like a UK, or I was thinking it was going to be Australia first, to get some kind of a launch contract or some kind of a defense contract. So yeah, I would be surprised, in like but not I wouldn't be shocked. It would be really encouraging to see that kind of like second tier of relationship, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. And then like following on from that, guys, staying in the realm of hypersonics, Ursa Major secures $32.9 million contract to supply engines for US military hypersonics. Does this worry you guys that we have all these players in the hypersonic space, and we know that Jacobs and Francisco's, I don't want to, did Francisco say this? But that it'd be more or less a redundant sort of project within 5 years. And do you feel that with all these players starting to accelerate into this space, is Haste going to be as big as we think it's going to be before, pardon the pun, but the fuel runs out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, honestly, Peter Beck recently alluded to the fact that I think, and I should dig it up because I might be misrepresenting what he's saying, but it seemed like what he was saying was that he expects Haste to outpace Orbital Electron maybe for a time, but then Orbital Electron to outpace Haste, which would imply a curve. And it just kind of makes logical sense that if it's a test bed, at some point, enough testing will have been done. There will be enough like mature platforms. But there's always like multiple countries. Like I think Haste is a huge opportunity, definitely the fastest growing segment. But yeah, I could see some validity to that argument that it's not like an evergreen opportunity.
Yeah, I do agree too. And I'm a big, as you guys already know, I'm a big Haste guy, but Jacob does have a lot of good points where it is just a test bed, and we do have Neutron coming online. It may take 5, 7, 8 years before we have the cadence that can match up to what Haste will probably do over the next 3 to 5. But it does make sense that it could kind of peter off and slowly just, go by the wayside, and Neutron takes over those contracts. But again, if you look at something like an Electron, where it's a small stat launch vehicle, and that looks to be very profitable for at least the next 10 or 15 years. The revenue possibility, I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. I can see Neutron taking over the majority of what Haste is going to be testing for and going towards, but being able to use that and expand that technology and something like that that's being purchased by other countries just gives Rocket Lab overall a lot more, I guess it's like a spider web, and with lack of better terms. So our reach is a lot bigger. So there's a lot more opportunity for money in multiple different places, not just for the DoD or not just for whether it's an Amazon or whatever it is. It just gives us a lot more opportunity for revenue. And like I said yesterday, there's a chance that Haste might just go off into its own kind of company. But it is interesting. It's something I don't think most of us expected from Rocket Lab. It's kind of funny how there's not a lot of money in space, most of the money is going to be in defense, at least the next couple of years. And that kind of brings me back around to some of the, without lack of better words, your nerdy kind of algorithm stuff that you're working on. That's amazing. Again, let me ask you this, Ghost. What are your thoughts as far as what you're seeing happening outside of the issue with Iran and all that kind of stuff? You know, where Rocket Lab has been, it's been kind of like bouncing back and forth and just waiting for a takeout. Have you seen anything? Have you noticed anything different? I mean, you deal with this stuff every single day. Is there something that any of us are missing that you might be able to bring to the table?
As far as just like in general, or like as far as
yeah, just in general. Just, I mean, overall, it doesn't have to be one specific subject. I know because you know what you put out there is a little bit different than your everyday numbers, and you do a lot of research. So it's just sometimes you pick up on little details here and there that it's very easy to overlook the details. We do it all the time. What you're doing, it's difficult to overlook those details. So maybe you've seen something we haven't. Just and have fun with it, man. This is, hey, look, we don't expect receipts here. We don't. We're laid back. You know, we're not gonna call you out on any of this kind of stuff, man. This is where you come to just, you know, have fun. If you have a crazy idea, feel free to throw it out there. No one's gonna bother you about it. But yeah, if you see anything, man, I'd just be interested.
So I did a post, probably like one of my most liked tweets ever, like last week. I kind of just dug really deep into the GEOST acquisition because, you know, I think a lot of people like saw the headline and just kind of repeated it. I was like, yeah, this is for missile tracking, something about optical, something. And I was like, yeah, well, that's cool. But it's just, for me, it helps me as an investor, especially when, you know, let's say, you know, we're have like 7 red days in a row or whatever it's been. It helps me to just dig in and understand more about what, you know, because there's really just like almost endless, especially when it comes to this sector. You know, you could spend weeks learning about just like optical laser comms if you wanted to. So it's just endless, right? So that was really cool to understand, you know, and it's a good example, right? It's like you see this headline about this GEOST acquisition, right? And then you can just start Googling like GEOST, like what is GEOST? And you can end up, you see some spacenews.com articles about how they were awarded some SDA contracts for Sierra Space. And you just read the article and it tells you right there, it starts talking about the name of the sensor and what it does. It's like, okay, well, that's probably the same one, right? It's probably it'd be weird if they just a year ago or 6 months ago had a completely different EO sensor that they were selling for the same purpose to a different company. So a lot of it is just, you know, it's kind of like how I learned to program and why I like wiki style formats is in the wiki, a lot of times you'll see a word is a link. And that's because, you know, I don't know what, like I said, Capella Space does off the top of my head. So it's really helpful for me to just like click, oh, right, you know, and it's like, it's not, there's not much going on up here. And that's why I put it down in the, you know, in the wiki. So, yeah.
That's going to be my Bible, bro.
Yeah, please. Yeah. And like my favorite thing in the world is like, you'll see people arguing on Twitter and I'll see a screenshot from like the wiki and people will be like, no, see, like, this is what Peter Beck said. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly why I made, this is exactly it.
I make that mistake a lot where I come up with something crazy and I'll post it and I'm like, damn it, I should have checked with Francisco or Space before I did this. And I'm like, totally wrong, you know? And it's so obvious. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'll say it live and I'm gonna go, oh yeah, I forgot about this. So like just the other day, Francisco reminded me of something that we actually talked about for like 2 days, like 6 months ago. And I brought it back up like it was brand new news. And he was like, no, bro, we talked about, like, what are you doing? That was 6 months ago. Catch up. I'm like, man, my brain is fried.
Yeah, that's tough.
No, but it helps having that, you know, basically like a record, something we can go back and check and fact check each other. And it's not personal. I mean, just facts are facts. You know, that's just what it is. Right. But no, that's awesome, man. That's a lot of fun.
It's a good way to test out ideas, right? Is like, that's how good ideas bubble up. Is somebody throws something out there, and all of a sudden it's crickets because there is no obvious counter. There is no obvious that's not true, you know. And that's when it's like, well, that's a really interesting idea because there isn't a reason why it's not true, you know. Jacob calls it the hive mind, and I'm like big on that. And that's like
Exactly.
Deji and
I
Scotto
love
are
that.
always in our deep research Discord, like, hey, what do you guys think about this? Like, do you think this customer makes sense? And it's nobody can do it all by themselves. And I would be very wary of somebody who was claiming to just be the person who knew everything, you know, especially if they're trying to charge money for it.
Exactly, man.
We
I
actually had
learned.
that conversation last day, didn't we, Christopher?
Yeah, I learned. That's how I learned the hard way, man. I got on YouTube and people wanted subscriptions. And look, if you're giving me good information and it's solid and it's fun, yeah, I got no problem, man. It's less than a cable bill. But if you're gonna feed me, look, if you're a multi-millionaire and you've got 60,000 shares in this and 60,000 shares of that, I'm not gonna be able to relate to that. And I've got no business trading the way you do. It does not relate. Um, and like you said, I mean, you're working late, you're grinding, you know, and at the same time, you're also putting out amazing content on X. It takes a lot of time. I mean, it's work. It really is. And you're doing it for free. It's awesome that you do that. And that's a lot about what we're here. You know, that's why we had you on. I mean, you fit in perfectly. You're one of us now. You know, one of us, Google, one of us. Yeah, man, this is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Um, Liam, again, I'm always going to ask to look at the comments because I'm sure we've missed something.
We've missed a lot, to be fair.
And I can't see anything. I don't mean to drag it on, but you know me, I always love the comments, man. I'm a big comment guy.
So, Aussie boy says, yo, Space Ghost. Then, GY Kiwi. It's 3:15 a.m. Eastern time for the launch. Thank the Lord. 7:15
I hate you.
New Zealand
God,
time.
I hate you. You suck.
What day is it?
That is, it's 20th, but what day is the 20th?
I might be up if
Friday.
it's a Friday night. I might be up. Yeah, we'll see. That's
Do you
when
want
I
to
do
Hey,
stream with us, brother?
Bro, if you want to come on with this, that'd be awesome because I have to be up. If not, Francisco's gonna, call me or 1,000 times or something. So yeah, if you want to come on, man, you're more than welcome. That'd be great.
You know what I was thinking about doing too, and I don't know, it might not be a good idea. I guess I should test it out a couple times and see if people like it. I spend like hours and hours and hours doing all this deep dive research on this past weekend I probably spent 4 hours on commercial space stations, right? And a lot of people do that and they read it and it gets like 10% of it sticks in their brain and a month later they can kind of, so I was thinking about just doing some long form deep dive streams where I'll just set up the wiki, I'll set up my station and I'll just like kind of show my process, talk through it, and hopefully have some kind of way of like having a format where people can really talk about like, deep dive kind of like niche stuff where it doesn't make a ton of sense to talk about like a vast space in a Rocket Lab forum. You know what I mean? But,
actually, bro, that is perfect. And welcome to the Haste Club. So as you see, we have both the Hustle Brothers and the Haste Club. It is two separate entities, and we will be splitting this off. And Liam and I and Reese, Dylan, we're also going to work, constantly work together on both of them, but then we focus on different things. To where we're going to go to where, like you were talking about, deep dive on things that maybe not everybody's, it's not always about Rocket Lab. It might be a space conspiracy. It could be anything. Just have fun with it. Bro, I go on my kayak in the live stream, in the water. So
that's awesome.
It's a lot more laid back. And then when you want to get more into detail, and really put the numbers together and really deep dive on those kind of things, that's what we have the other side for. So we're trying to reach out to everybody, but you fit right in, bro. And anytime you want to, man, just come in, take over. I mean, Liam will tell you, man, I'm laid back. I'm super laid back. Any day, all day long.
I always like to look at the Rocket Lab Weekly guys are such a good example because like Scotto is like a classic spreadsheet guy. Like that's how he locks in that's how he understands his investments. It's like really like he's got all his data there. And then like Maddie is just like a god tier stock picker and he knows a lot about a lot. and it's just like it's totally different kind of ways of looking at investments.
Yeah.
And you can both be right. And I always laugh about like, dude, I could do thousands of hours of research in Rocket Lab, and then somebody could just like see a YouTube video and be like, oh, that seems like a good investment, and just throw some money at it, and we both end up at the same spot.
The same
It's like,
place,
who's
yeah.
smarter in that situation? You know, the guy who kind of just was like.
And sometimes you can overthink a company completely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's funny too, because like we said about Scott O, yeah, he's totally numbers guy, straight to the point, you know, almost, you know, monotonic when he speaks, but he's also very artistic. He's the one that came up with the Haste Club design, because it's all based off of Fight Club. He did that. So it shows a whole different side of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's hard to get them guys to actually show that personal side of them, but it's awesome when when they do. I can't wait to have Dave on. That's going to be a blast.
Dave's the best. Yeah, love Dave.
Yeah, and the thing is too, man, is that we'll talk stocks and all that kind of stuff, but I just want to get to know Dave. Just talk to him, interview him a little bit. Dave's an OG, right? And he deserves all the respect in the world. So I think it'd just be cool to, just ask him more about, what got him in the Rocket Lab in the first place, what got him the balls to actually go on YouTube, because he was one of the first ones to do it outside of Stock Trek Girl. And I remember when it was only like 5 or 10 of us, and you can find Rocket Lab anywhere on YouTube, and there's Dave.
Yeah.
Good old Dave, trusty Dave. Yeah, man, those guys are great, definitely. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. And there's different ways to take approaches to it, different aspects, just like you said. You get all the numbers from Scott, who's amazing at it, and then you get a different aspect from Maddie or Dave, but it all equals out. And you just add one more cog to the wheel that just makes our jobs a lot easier when it comes to investing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
And then, so you've touched on the Star Trek Girl, like for Scott O, Dave. We're going to have them all on. And guys, again, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're one of them big boys or you've never been on a stream before. We've had the likes of Olga, Francisco, come on our channel. So genuinely, anyone that wants to speak Rock Lab, don't care if you have no shares, 1 share, 1 million shares, make sure to jump in for a chat. And I'm going to address you straight away, Space Derivatives, when you boys let me on. Jump into my DMs. We can get you on either tomorrow or... What day is today, brother? Today is
we had...
Tuesday.
I got to give it to Space Derivatives. Space, bro, love you. When you were down, Liam, he definitely stepped it up. He stepped it up. He helped me out a whole lot. Him and Francisco. They fed off of each other very well. The guy knows his stuff, bro. He's just another space ghost. And the guy knows his stuff. But also, like us, he likes to have fun with it. He doesn't take himself. He's going to fit in perfectly. So, yeah. Let's get him on here, man. Let's definitely get him on here. But while we've got Space, because again, man, I've been trying to get this guy on for days and days. Dude, we're not going to be able to cover everything tonight. I can guarantee you we're not going to be able to get, because I've got so many questions for you, man. We're going to have to get you back on again.
I got an idea for tonight. Dave, I don't know if you saw Dave G's latest video about basically like a lot of people talk about when you think Rocket Lab will be net cash flow break even positive, right? And it's just been bouncing around in my head for the past few days after I watched that video, because I think everybody now is just kind of like laser focused on Neutron, and you probably have like a little bit of a sidecar thinking like, there's going to be like $1 billion defense contract at some point here, right? 1 or 2 of those, and those will be really good, solid kind of like points we can say, okay, we're going in the right direction, we're de-risking, But I do think he's making a great point about, once, I don't know if you guys watched, Martin Shkreli. He's like Farmer Bro, right? He knows he's the guy. He's super smart. He's had a bit of a critical view on Rocket Lab, And I think it's because he is kind of representing the classic Wall Street take, right? It's like the company doesn't make money right now. And you get like, at the end of the day, we all know it's like a great investment. It's like growing, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they can't go to their boss and be like, hey, I'm investing in this company that's losing money. And when we hit that point, whatever it is, or when it looks like that is imminent, that could arguably be more fuel in the flame than a Neutron launch or a $2 billion defense contract, and then I just think there's this like these 6 month to a year kind of chunks we can look at where we've got Neutron launching, right? And then within a year or so from there, we can probably look at, okay, now we're cash flow positive, right? And then probably within a year from there, we could probably be looking at them making serious moves, like borrowing by however they're going to start assembling this constellation. It's almost like I keep thinking about when's my exit, and I couldn't even come close to justifying anything within 3 years, because it just seems like there's so many tailwinds. But that's just kind of like my thoughts on his recent video, and yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Space Ghost. That is exactly why we had you on, bro. That was brilliant. I agree. 100%. 100%. That was brilliant. Something that's outside the box a little bit. Easy to miss. Very easy to miss. Yes, we're all focused on Neutron. I've been getting a lot of crap because I think that Neutron is going to be delayed. Only about like a month or two.
Oh, you got into war, bro.
Well, it was a little vague. All I saw was a Neutron delayed, and then that's why I didn't see anything else. I was like, what you like? As long as if it's new information, it's one thing, and then if it's coming to a conclusion,
I'm going off of like no sleep. It's been a rough couple of days, and I was looking at a few things, and I'm like, I don't see. Yeah, it's based on the FCC filing for September, and yes, I know that it's not an announcement or whatever. So yeah, I got a lot of crap for that. But that's okay. That's okay. You when you do these kind of things, you have to be man enough to admit when you might be wrong. I didn't mean to put it out there like it's going to be 2026 or anything crazy, but I was honestly just thinking about the fact that, hey, if there's going to be any kind of delay, then I've got a better chance of getting the hotel rooms that I want for the Neutron launch party. That's what I was thinking.
Do you think? Okay, let me ask you this: do you think right now, where there's like maybe a sliding scale? What is it? 20? Let's call it $25, $26, whatever it is right now.
Yeah.
Right. What's priced in right now? A on-time, successful, fully successful splash off, splash down launch. Maybe you'll see where I'm going with this. Where are the prices now? What does it represent? And like, what is the market pricing in? And I would say if it was pricing in an on-time, fully successful launch, it'd be like $100 stock or something, right?
Yeah.
It's just a crazy, So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
so I don't think it's crazy at all to say it'll slip a month or 2 or 3, and I think it actually doesn't matter in the end that much. I think we as people who focus on Rocket Lab care a lot more about that than some random dude working on the street who's going to get the headline at some point that Neutron launched. They're not like hanging on it like we are, right? So
no, exactly. And I don't think any of us would sell either. I think if anything, all of us would look at it like, wow, this is an awesome opportunity, because we know if it does get delayed for some crazy reason, again, I apologize, everyone. Don't kill me in the chats. But if it does, I do believe that the majority of us, we follow the company. We know what's going on with them. We believe in what they're doing. And they would still break records. I mean, Neutron's going to break all kinds of records just getting to the pad and launching, even if they're not 100% successful. So it did not mean in any way to be bearish about it, because I'm super bullish.
You should be bearish if you're invested, just in case you're wrong, So
I'd rather look at the possibility than just ignore the possibility, because as an investor, if it is something like that, then again, I want to start finding a way to build up cash. So if it does happen, I can buy more.
Yeah.
That's just smart to me. But I hope, man, I really hope. I mean, honestly, I hope they're actually putting some kind of cargo on there and it's 100% successful. They launch something into space and they break every record in the world. I'm going to cheer on the sidelines. I 100% will. Yeah,
I think we're probably like de-risked enough that, I mean, I don't know enough. I'm not like Captain D2, you know what I mean? I'm not like going for my aeronautical science or aeronautical engineering degree, but I think that we're probably de-risked enough that I would be surprised if there was anything left that was like that could push us back a year or more, you know? Again, that's just my gut. I don't really know, but I think that we should qualify and say there probably is things in a rocket program that can go wrong enough that we don't know about that could cause a delay that, like, if was announced and they say, oh, we got to push this back a year, you know, we're seeing like, we really got to change up our whole strategy here. That would be bad. That would be like a rethink your investment kind of moment, I think. But yeah, that's, you know.
The only thing that I see a delay in is, and I've said this from the beginning, and Francisco, we've talked about this, is the fact they're building a brand new engine, and then they have to reverse that and actually making it, you know, use the same kind of technology in a lot of ways and have a vacuum engine. And as everyone knows, developing a new engine is just as difficult, if not more difficult, than developing a new rocket. I have no issues with where they're at with Wallops as far as construction, where they're at as far as development with the Neutron rocket itself.
Man, they must have came at you hard, huh?
Oh man,
I swear, definitely. I am
not. No, I still own Rocket Lab. I'm buying more tomorrow.
Yeah, show me your account. Promise. Show me your account.
I probably need to by now. But no.
You're good, man. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't mean to cause so much controversy, man. I'm sorry. I'm just an old guy living on the river, man.
I want to circle back to the point that you were saying there, and it actually did open up my head a little bit, because I don't know why I never really thought of it the way you were saying it there, and it really has sort of resonated with me now, and I've sort of like looked at it a little bit differently. I always thought that, look, everyone I speak to, whether it's on X, whether it's on YouTube, whether, doesn't matter where it is, they all believe, like, Chris, how many times have I said in streams, and we've had comments jumping in where they all are pricing in a successful Neutron launch, an on-time Neutron launch. But Space Ghost actually came out with such a valid point there. The average retail investor who doesn't really care about Rocket Lab is just waiting for a headline of a Neutron launch, and that's when they're either buying or selling. And it did make me think, some people don't care about the company as much as we do. So no matter how much we're trying to assess and, I don't know, predict market sentiment, we're only ever talking to people that are more or less as obsessed with Rocket Lab as we are. So market sentiment is very, very hard to actually assess.
That can help and that can hurt. Like, I have a friend who's obsessed with macro, and he, through the whole tariff thing, he was just dying, and I'm just like doing deep research into Mineric and trying to figure out what a laser comm term, you know what I mean? So it can cut both ways, but I think that's well said. Well said, Liam.
No, thank you for that. And guys, what I want to do as well, because there's even more of you here, so guys, make sure you check this out. RKLB wiki. It is absolutely amazing. I've just been playing around with it as the guys have been talking. You can look at the likes of the acquisition, you know, the date, costs, complete acquisitions. If you then want to go into when the launches are, you can pick any of them there. Like, guys, it is unbelievable. I am definitely playing around with this tonight.
Yeah, here's every interview. If you click on one of those interviews on this page, you'll see it'll bring up, there's like the recent core memory. That's with Ashley, and it has the whole transcript. So you can read it, you read through it, and all that. Yeah.
That is unbelievable, brother.
Yeah, another good one is partners. Right below, like 3 down. Partners there. So this is everybody that's ever worked with Rocket Lab. So like, you know, you might see like Black Sky a little bit down there. Might be a good one to click on. They have some good data. And so that's all the launches that Black Sky has ever had. And if you scroll down, that's their Gen 2 satellite. There's their Gen 3 payload. Got some specs. And this is all just like, because, you know, anybody that can keep this in their head is a lot smarter than me, you know? So this is my second brain, and, you know, community second brain, because a ton of people, Jacob, Trent, like tons of people are always pinging me, being like, hey, you know, this is wrong. And that's super helpful, by the way. If you ever see something that's wrong, definitely shoot me a message. I won't be mad. I'll be happy. So
Christopher.
Jacob's great for that. He's I love Jacob. Tran is amazing. But yeah, dude, you are a virtual cheat sheet. I mean, if I need it, if it's the last minute, I'm like, what am I going to talk about tonight? I'm just going to look that up and go and remind myself, you know, and especially details, because you do get asked some of the details, especially because, again, this is mostly for newer investors. We have fun. A lot of guys are in here that's been here for a long time, but this is mostly for newer investors. So you do get asked those kind of questions, like, you know, how many times do they launch for Black Sky? Well, I've got space goods for that. You know, those kind of details, man, are awesome. So again, thank you.
Christopher, we were complaining about how hard it is to go daily every day. Have you seen this website, brother? Let's get cracking on one of these, and you'll soon know what hard work is.
Have you not seen this website? I mean, why do you think I've been trying to get this guy on for days and days? Believe me, he definitely knows his stuff. And think about the amount of time this guy put into this, you know. And again, he offers it out for free. It's right there. You can click on anything, and it gives you everything you need to know to get you up to date. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's the best part is when people use it and enjoy it, and you know, because for me, a lot of it is by the time I've got it published and up, you know, a lot of it is pretty well in my head somewhere, you know, whether or not I can recall it or not. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever heard people talk about the best way to learn something is to like teach it. So when I have to like confidently publish a page about whatever, you know, I'm doing a couple of pages about like Star Lab and VAST now, you know, there's a lot of pressure. It's a good self filter to make sure you're getting the right info. And, you know, and one thing I like to say about it is it's just purely informational. Like there's not a single page on there that's convincing you to buy the stock. Like I don't care. You know, whether you do or you don't, that's totally up to you. Just sharing like the information I've found about it. So, yeah.
I feel like Rocket Lab's one of those companies that you just need to read the information and you'll know whether to buy the stock or not. Like on here, we never tell you when to buy or sell anything. I don't know, is it because we're so obsessed with the company and we're so bullish on the company that we can't see some of the downsides sometimes, but like everything about Rocket Lab just makes me more and more bullish. Like, I don't know, but I'm gonna jump back to the comments here, guys. So we have Vasi and C. I bought in Redwire as well after the dip. 1658 was my buying price. Space Ghost, are you in Redwire?
I'm not. No. I don't really know much about it, to be honest. It's a really cool company. They have like a ton of cool projects, for sure, but I don't know much about the business.
Then we have Space Peripherals. Yeah, brother, we'll get you on either tomorrow or Thursday. 100%. Just jump into
his posts make me sweat when he's posting like, oh, I'm down 40% today. I'm up 60% today. I'm like, oh, sell.
How do you sleep at night?
This guy, but yeah, I'm always rooting for you, man. So,
bro, look, when I was I had to go live. Well, I went live when Liam was sick, and we did it on X, and him and Francisco and Jacob, they knew that I was distracted because I was at my daughter's soccer game. So they were like, we're going to talk numbers the whole time and just piss Chris off. Yeah. It was hilarious. But the guy knows his stuff, man. They all do. They all do. We all bring a different aspect to this. That's the best part about what we do here, is that it's not about one person. We don't get all, like you said, it's impossible to remember all the information.
Possible. Unless you're
It is
trans.
impossible.
Unless you're trans, and then
Yeah, if your friend, because believe me, he corrects me daily. I'm like, yeah, we talked about that 6 months ago, dude. Like, and he shows me receipts. He'll show me posts like, remember
every
this? I'm
time
like,
he's like, dude, I just
yeah,
posted this. I'm like, I'm sorry.
yeah, dude, he's an AI robot. He
You're
was
bad,
built
yeah.
by Elon Musk. He's fake. I don't believe anything. That is hilarious. Love that guy, man. This has been a lot of fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. I'm so glad you're on. And I can't wait to have you on more. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
No, 100%. And then GY Kiwi, this is referring back to the Korea article. GY Kiwi believes Rocket Lab wouldn't work with missile deployment. Many defense companies in hypersonic weapons, it's not Sapir Beck's area. Space Travelers, why can't I comment on YouTube? I think we got that figured out. I think it was to do, you need to sign in on Google. Francisco believes Iran is priced in. He agrees with everything Space Ghost has said.
What's up,
Can't
Francisco?
sell for like 3 years. Vessi and C, I'm caught up. Thoughts on Black Sky versus Planet Labs. I had a decent swing trade on Planet Labs, but think about long-term position on either.
That's another good question for Dave G, because I know Dave G is into Planet Labs. I don't know if he actually owns Black Sky. But that's it. If you can,
growing his position on Planet Lab though, or is he more or less just sitting on what he has?
I don't know. I don't know. And again, this one is Dave's really good at seeing things that we don't see before we see them. I got to give him the credit for that. So that's just, along with Kratos, there's a few things, Redwire, I want to ask Dave G more about. So yeah, man, bro, if you come back on when Dave's on, we'll definitely make sure that we're getting your comments in, and please feel welcome to ask questions, and we'll relay them right directly to Dave G. Maybe Space has some insight on that, but be honest, man, I don't know enough about Planet Labs myself.
No, super cool company and super cool management. And I remember after watching the documentary there, the Wild Wild Space, I was like, that's a company right there. They must be worth like billions of dollars by now. And I was so shocked to see their stock just like in the toilet. But like, it's just one of those things where whether or not the market is there yet, it seems like AI, based on being able to take a picture of the entire world multiple times a day, could come up with some pretty profitable information, right? But yeah, again, it's one of those like where I like the company and I could tell you about their tech, but I don't know much about the business. So,
and that's same here. Both companies do excite me, to be fair. Am I invested in either? No. I've played around with Planet Labs at the very start when I used to follow Dave G an awful lot too, very early on into my Rocket Lab investing. And it was around then he was sort of jumping into Planet Lab. I think Francisco said that he thinks Dave had a small position on Planet Lab but sold for a profit. Planet Labs is just too small. And we will ask Dave about that. He may have re-entered. I'm sort of in the camp now that like if I'm investing in Space, I'm investing in Rocket Lab at the moment. I have a little position in Redwire, but I'm not overly banking on any other company at the moment. I'm quite happy where Rocket Lab is going. They sort of are my space sector ticked off. I'm quite heavily in the eVTOLs as well. I know, chat, you'll probably kill me. I feel like eVTOLs are Marmite. I feel it's either people love them or they hate them. But
Marmite.
Then we have Brett Krieger. Thank you, Space Ghost. And Brett, we need you on as well,
Hey, what's up, Brett?
We're just going to make an army of guys where we can all just come together, have our chats, boys. I absolutely love it. But guys, make sure to smash that like button because we want to share this out to more people. And again, guys, if you haven't, make sure to check out Rocket Lab Wiki.
Yeah,
We
that's
need
sick.
this shared
That's so
out
sick.
to more people. We honestly,
Definitely.
whether guys, if you're here through the eVTOL side of my channel, you need to jump into this if you're starting to do your due diligence on Rocket Lab now, because look, the amount of information in here could keep you going for months.
Yeah, if you
Oh,
click
it's-
the home in the top left there, I can like just kind of like zoom you through the front page. Like it is a good summary of all the stuff. So
Yep.
I've got all information in the quick links, every launch, every
Yep.
SEC filing linked to the insider. I've got a subsection of just insider sales, all the interviews, all the people. So those are all the SEC insiders. You know, Adam Spice, Peter Beck, all those people. Partners, that's like Black Sky, all those people.
Yep.
Space Systems, that's every reaction wheel, every separation system, all that stuff, every news release that they've put out, all that stuff, earnings calls, it's all there, and plus a bunch of other random stuff too. If you poke around.
Oh yeah, no, bro, it is awesome. It is amazing. And for some reason, if you can't find the info on that, Brett will be awake at about 3 or 4 in the morning, so just message him.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill me for that. I'm kidding. Do never, ever message him at 3 or 4 in the morning because I'm gonna have to buy that guy a lot of beer. But thanks, Brett. Yeah, we gotta have Brett on. The guy's extremely busy. Gotta give him the credit. The guy's working like constantly working. He's like Francisco. He never sits down, never sleeps. So we'll get him on for 20, maybe 20 minutes, but love to have you on. We'll have a lot of fun. We got some cool guests coming on, man, and we're gonna get Space Ghost right back on here very soon because if you guys have looked at, looking at what if you haven't seen this before and you're looking at what he's putting out, just like Liam right now, he's like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of info. It really is, but it catches you, it gets you up to date, especially if you're a new investor and you want to find out, all the details about Rocket Lab. Just follow this guy, man. He's a cheat sheet. He's a walking cheat sheet. I love it.
And then VCNC says, my portfolio is drones, rare earths, eVTOLs, space, Palantir, and some cloud infrastructure. Do you know what, man? That's actually a pretty solid.
It's good growth portfolio.
Yeah. Drones, mate. I am sorry we didn't look at that on eVTOL Fan Club. Make sure to check out eVTOL Fan Club on Sunday, Vast, and we'll check out some of your drone stocks. Guys, we're nearly at 500.
All right.
Make sure to smash the subscribe button for the Hustle Brothers. We have a goal to get 5,000 by September.
Hey, Ghost has a YouTube page too, guys. And he's been trying to figure out how to go live just like I do. And he's way smarter than I am when it comes to techie stuff. But he does have a YouTube page. Check him out. Tune into him, and I'm sure. Hey, if you can, Space, just go ahead and post that, and so people get an opportunity to find you on YouTube. And please do the same for me with Haste Club. We are trying to get to where I can go live. We'll get more guests like this on more often. This is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thanks again, man, for coming on. This is
my
great.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's been great. Yeah.
Space Ghost, any more? What we'll do, we'll set up live stream so it streams to your channel live as well. Guys, I need you more than ever, please, to subscribe to Christopher on YouTube. We need him to get to 50 subscribers. At 50 subscribers, he can go live with me. The more people that see Rocket Lab Daily, the more guests we get on. The more guests we get on, the more opinions we get. The more opinions we get, the more knowledge we get, the more fun we have. Guys, Space Ghost has been amazing. make sure
Yeah.
to smash that like button and jump in and tell Space Ghost what an amazing person he is and how much you love that website.
Yeah, let's do the same thing for Space, man. Let's get in there. Let's find his webpage on YouTube. Let's subscribe. Let's get this guy live, man. He's got, again, I can't wait to have you back on because we've just touched the surface of what you know and what you're looking at. Now there's one thing we do, man. It's a tradition. It's Haste Club, as you know. We don't ask for receipts, but we ask every guest. So, if you have to think crazy stuff outside the box when it comes to Rocket Lab or Haste, and it could be Kratos, it could be SpaceX or whatever, man, you can talk about, whatever, but let's, again, no receipts, but we always ask our guests, hey, just give us your most outside the box scenario of what you're looking at when it comes to your research in the next, let's say, a week or two.
Okay, so do you think something I think is going to happen in the next week or two, or just something way outside the box that I'm like might be looking at or thinking about?
Way outside the box.
Okay.
I mean, as far as you can get. Yeah. Have fun with it, man. Have fun.
If you own Rocket Lab, you unironically own one of the craziest call options like in the history of markets, right? And for a very specific reason. Okay, so we know about Venus Life Finder, right? So Venus Life Finder is a probe that's going to go on a Neutron. They've indicated it'll probably hitch a ride with another customer, and I can't remember if it's a Pioneer or whatever. It's an interplanetary mission to Neutron to get a probe. Probe's already being built. There's been pictures of the heat shield, and it's got a very specific purpose, is to get into the upper atmosphere of Venus. And I'm going to butcher this. It's testing for some specific concentration of some molecule, right? And the whole point is that if they can find it or a certain concentration of it or whatever, they can kind of confidently say they think there is evidence of like life of some kind, right? So imagine you own a good chunk of a Rocket Lab, right? And that mission, the probe makes it into the atmosphere of Venus, and it blasts back a signal, and it gets relayed from the orbiter back to Earth, and it's just, yes. Like, imagine that. That would be pretty crazy to own.
Oh my God, the stock price would go through the roof.
Insane, right? So, like, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. It's like, but like, if you're not thinking about that kind of thing, why are you investing or talking about space on YouTube with people? Like, just go.
100%.
That's my
that's the best one yet.
I love that. That's why we have guys like you on, man. And that's why we ask that question every time at the end of the stream. We always think outside the box, because you know what's going to happen. Probably 10 or 15 of us are going to start deep diving into exactly what you just said. And we're going to be researching that and going down rabbit holes and having a lot of fun. It might turn into nothing, but if you're right, wow, man, that is awesome.
Crazy,
so awesome. Right? Yeah, I love it.
And it would kind of come out of like people aren't thinking about. That'd be kind of one of those things where we'd hear about a headline that nice, like they launched the Venus Life Finder mission. Like, you think your friend at the bar is going to know about? No, it would just be one of those like out of the blue. Oh, by the way, there's life on planet Venus, and this private company or publicly traded company found it, and it would just be like, through the roof. But
do you know what it'd be like? And this is a much smaller scale. But remember Luna, when they landed their lander on the moon, and out of nowhere the whole stock price just went through the roof because we did the first commercial customer to land the lander on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then multiply that by 10,000 if they found life, brother.
Yeah. Anything that had anything to do with aerospace would be riding high that day for sure. But the company,
would you sell? That's the question. Would you sell?
It would not take that crazy of a multiple for my position to get to the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna go retire and go like surfing in Indonesia for the rest of my life. So that's where I'm gunning for, in my mind, a pretty. And again, I usually don't talk stocks, or like I really don't. Like I'm more on the research side. Like there's plenty of people that can tell you about the numbers and all that. But yeah, for me, if Rocket Lab's ever trading comfortably in the 100s, I'll be doing Rocket Lab Wiki full time. So that'll be great. And that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, there's a great question. If you think the stock has rapidly outpaced its current valuation, do you try to capture that and sit on that cash for a while and sell puts or whatever you want? It's a great question. I never do anything. I don't sell covered calls. I don't. Occasionally I will use a little bit of margin to swing trade and then add to my core position. So if I'm, when we were down at 16, 17, I took some margin, like 15, 20% of my core position, rode that up to like 20s, sold that, and then just added to my core. So, but that's about as risky as I'll get. I just think it's going to like multiple hundreds at some point. So.
Yeah, bro, all day long. I 100% agree, and I do a lot of the same thing. It's, I'm too poor to take too many big risks. I mean, I did sell some covered calls last week, but I needed the money. Let's just say that. Sometimes if you see it, I mean, if you see it, you see it. And if you do the research, it's not really a gamble. I mean, it's always a gamble when you're day trading, but no, I definitely, man, it's kind of funny. We're all taking a risk, but it does help when we have guys like you guys like Liam, guys like Francisco, Dave G. We can all feed off of. We all have our own strengths, and we focus on those strengths, and we help each other out. And we might actually make some money off this, right?
That's the goal.
It'd be a lot of, and if you guys make enough money, then I'm gonna sell you all koi ponds and waterfalls. And so even if I don't have enough shares to be a millionaire one day, I'll still be hanging out with Francisco and the Dominican Republic, and I'll be traveling to Denmark to build waterfalls for Ringdo and Perion.
You're gonna have to try and come find me in Vietnam or something.
All day long, man. I'll find you in the bush. No doubt.
Then Francisco jumps back in. Luna didn't even land, which is even crazier. They crashed into the moon and it went bananas. And the thing is, will they attempt a third one? If they fail a third time?
And didn't the stock, I could be misremembering, I think the stock might have rocketed when it launched, and then I can't remember. It was a big parabolic move, right? Yeah. It went way up and then way down shortly after. Yeah. And that might be what Francisco's. I could be. I should look up. I don't remember anything ever. That's why I have the wiki. So.
Yeah, no, and also too, Firefly did actually land successfully, but most of Firefly, guess what it's built out of? Rocket Lab components.
Yeah. That is cool to see that partnership.
And then Olga, do you know what? One of our biggest fans here. Welcome to the show. But the Venus mission is the one that gets me more excited.
Totally. It's Peter Beck's favorite mission. That should tell you everything right there, right? So.
And then Francisco saying that there's breaking news on.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I checked when he said that.
I think it's to do with the radios, is it? Rocket Lab's frontier radios keep spacecraft connected, sending data, tracking position, and staying in command.
On their Twitter.
Launched to deep space. And again, talking about Europa Clipper. Do you know what I'm going to end on? Is right. Space Ghost. Is there life outside of Earth?
I sure as hell hope so. Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I think that the impact of something like a Venus Life Finder would be like if there's just like bacteria in the upper atmosphere of Venus. Yeah. Your mind would just goes like, oh my God, it's probably everywhere, right? It's everywhere. If it's totally barren on Mars and we can't find anything on Venus, then you have another idea about what life might be. But yeah, I would never assume we're the only thing, but I don't know, Who knows?
Guys,
I like that idea. If we did come from primordial soup, right? Which is crazy. But if you're like me, and it's controversial, I know not everyone believes in that, but I do believe in God. I'll say that. I have no problem saying that whatsoever. But I do believe also that you think about how complex just a bird is, a fish is, nature itself, extremely complex. I think it'd be ignorant to think that we're the only life form, whether it's some sort of biological molecule on some other planet or whatever. Think about how crazy it is that we have a moon that helps provide the exact, you know, everything we need for our atmosphere. We can't get that without the moon. It just happens to be perfectly placed right there. It could be science, and I'm not going to object to that. But it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think
We,
about.
we get outside the box here, man. We get way outside the box.
He's always telling, yeah. No, we're,
Bro,
we're always, yeah, we're riding outside the box. No, it's great.
Yeah,
I've had
man.
a great time, man. Thank you so much.
Dude, you got to come back on very soon. Thanks so much for coming on. I got so many more questions. But again, guys, man, follow this guy. He's a cheat sheet. He's a human cheat sheet. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
yeah. So, guys, my name's Liam. One of the Hustle Brothers here. I have the founder of the Haste Club, Christopher Bell. You know what to do, guys. We are Space Ghost. You need to jump straight off this and straight onto RKLB Wiki. That is RKLB Wiki or .wiki. And yeah, tell me you're not impressed. But guys, we're here daily. Make sure to give us a follow on X. And yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. And for sure, we'll have Space Ghost back on again. Right,
Awesome.
guys. Until tomorrow.
Thanks,
so much,
guys.
guys. Take it easy.